Hello, Clutter Boot Campers. Hello. If you are here live, please pop into the comments right now and say good morning, good afternoon. I'm not sure what time zone you're in, so say hello. Let us know that you are here. And if you are catching the replay, give me a hashtag replay and let me know that you are watching the replay. Good morning, Dawn. First comment, Dawn. Awesome. Hey, Brenda. Nice to see you. Hello. Hi, Sam. Facebook users, hello, hi Amy, hi Al, how you doing? Hi, hello. So in the beginning of these live streams, it always takes a little bit of time for people to find the link and to get onto the live stream. So I'm always kind of like not sure what to do with that time. Yes, Carletta, you got on a live. Excellent. So I thought today maybe I would just run some of our Facebook group statistics and share them with you as we get everybody on the live, finding the live, seeing the live, as we get everybody into the right spot. And so yesterday we had over 300 people watching our live stream. I wonder if we're going to have that many today. This is such an exciting boot camp. And I'll tell you, I love statistics that back up my point of view, right? So it's an exciting boot camp, and here are some statistics to prove just how exciting it is. Number one, as of just about 10 minutes ago, we have 2,736 active members in our group. Holy moly, you guys. Let me say that again. 2,736 active members in this Facebook group, in a pop-up Clutter Bootcamp Facebook group. Give me some fire emojis. That is incredible. Now, here are some other incredible numbers. So far, we have had 464 posts this week. 464 posts this week. And it's Tuesday, right? Okay, pretty awesome there. Yeah, 2,736 members, 464 posts. We have had, are you ready for this one? 8,654 comments. And I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say that of that 8,654 comments were positive, supportive comments. We have proof that supportive community crushes clutter. This is our proof. You guys are absolutely amazing. Not only are you commenting, but you are also reacting. This is the biggest number I have to share with you right now. Are you ready for this one? This week, since I guess it starts on Sunday. Since Sunday, we have had 23,721 reactions on our 464 posts and 8,654 comments. That's incredible. And that just goes to show us the power of our community. Give me a hashtag community crushes clutter. Community crushes clutter. You are not alone on this journey. Every time I do a boot camp, I am blown away by the number of people who are experiencing the same things, but are feeling so isolated and so alone because of their clutter. It doesn't need to be this way, and it shouldn't be this way. We more than ever need community in our lives. And it's 2021. Community just looks a little bit different today than it ever has before because of technology, because of the pandemic, because of how our life has shifted in the past 30 to 40 years. So if you had any reservations about embracing an online community, being a part of an online community, how does that work? This is how it works. This is the best of the best of technology, the best of humans, the best of us coming together in a way that is really, really, sometimes I don't have the adjectives to describe how incredible it is. This is how it should be, right? This is how it should be today. We are all in this together. You guys are incredible. Do not underestimate the power of a like, of a comment, of a reaction. It goes so far. You give each other hope. So thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being active. Continue to be active, please. At the beginning of this live stream right now, I am going to go ahead and share the winner of today's one-on-one coaching session with one of our certified coaches. So every day we are giving away a one-on-one coaching session. It's 1 hour with one of our certified coaches. And then next week we have one giant grand prize. It's a full year scholarship into Clutter Boss Academy. Clutter Boss Academy is a year-long, totally integrated program. We support your decluttering journey in every area of your life. We emotionally support you. We give you resources for everything. We have a psychotherapist in there, an integrative nutrition coach. We have a parenting coach, a consistency coach, an accountability coach. We have it all in Clutter Boss Academy. It is the only program that exists in the world like it. It is the only program that takes the approach that we need to support every area of each other's lives as we are going down this journey of decluttering. So on Monday, we have one grand prize, full scholarship winner into Clutter Boss Academy. And if you win during the week, because you're showing up and getting these one-on-one little things that we're giving out, you are still in the running for the big prize. So that was a question that came up recently. So I want to announce our prize winner right now for today, one-on-one coaching call with one of our certified coaches. The winner is Tanya Fink. Tanya, I don't know if you're watching this live, but if you are, congratulations. And if you're watching the replay, congratulations. You have won a 1 hour coaching session with one of our incredible certified coaches. Make sure to just send me a message so we can get you that information. I have one more announcement before we dive into the lesson. Today's lesson is relatively short, which means that we have a lot of time for Q&A at the end. And I've pulled out quite a few questions already from the group that we'll dive into in the Q&A, and then we'll take more questions as time allows. Okay, so my next announcement, the only next one that I have is our Clutter Coach on Call sessions are now open for enrollment. So we added another layer of support to this boot camp. We wanted to give everybody in boot camp an opportunity to have really what we're calling implementation support. So you learn all of this stuff during the week, and then we want to give you time to really have be with a coach in a small group setting and have like dedicated time for decluttering with the opportunity to ask questions and connect more personally with other community members. So we do something called Clutter Coach on Call. And basically it's a 2-hour session. It costs $20. You sign up. We have all different times available for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You sign up, you get access to a Zoom room during those 2 hours. You join for the whole 2 hours. At the beginning of the session, you just share a little bit about yourself, what your decluttering goal is for the 2 hours, or maybe you have no idea where to even get started. That's exactly what this type of session is for. We support you during those 2 hours. You can ask questions. Where do I get started? What should I do with this? How do I tackle this? You can meet other people. And basically you're just decluttering with we cap each session at 20 people. So you're decluttering with a group of other people in the community who are going through the same thing that you are. We've been doing Clutter Coach on Call sessions for a while now. Everyone who does one loves them. I mean, it's just such a nice way to not declutter alone. And it creates this really kind of close community. The coaches are incredible. I've trained all of them personally. They are awesome. If you go to our Clutter Coach on Call website, you can see some videos that talk about their stories. All of the clutter coaches that we have been in your shoes before. So they have all gone through my programs and worked with me directly. They started off as clients. And that's, I think, what makes our coaches the best of the best. They have been in your shoes. They are fully understanding of where you are right now. They totally, totally get it. And they've walked the walk and talked the talk. They have done it. And then they've been working with me in, learning how to do this coaching. So they are incredible. It's a $20 well spent. And as somebody who used to go into people's homes, I can tell you it's very much like having a professional organizer actually in your house next to you, working with you. It's very similar, but it costs a whole lot less. So clutter coaching sessions. Amber, would you mind just grabbing the link? It's clutterboss.com/coach on call. It's in it's in the group. Okay, I think Sue might have just posted it into the comments if you would like to join. Anna, just click on that link and you can just sign up right there. If you have any problems or anything, then go ahead and just drop me a message. All right, so without further ado, we are going to dive into today's lesson. You are going to understand organization in a way that you have never understood it before. Of course, it's bizarrely simple, right? There is nothing that we teach that is not really, really simple, but it's just kind of the way that we say it and the analogies that we make that make it so easy for it to stick with you and for you to understand really organization in a whole new way. I'm going to dive into the lesson, pull up my slides, and then I'll come back and we will do Q&A. All right, give me 1 second here to share my screen. Okay. Oh, I have my little face up there too. All right, I'm going to take my face off and I'm going to actually just do the screen. There we go. Just let me know that you guys can all see the slides and still hear me. Good morning, Nancy. Hello. Okay. Home organization demystified. No bins or systems required. It's bizarrely simple and it works in every space in your life. And that's really important to keep in mind. You don't need a different system. You don't need different organizational tools for different categories. It's the same exact process and concept that you can apply to literally every single space in your life. I mean, we do have lessons that go into detail about papers and stuff like that because there's just there's more nuances to papers, but at the end of the day, it's the same exact process. It's the same process. It works in your car. It works in your refrigerator. It works in your attic. It works everywhere. So this works in every area of your house. And a lot of times we have this idea that if we just had a system in place, it would, things would be great. Well, there's a little bit more to it than that. You don't really need a system for every area of your life. My legal disclaimer, this information is copyrighted and it's for personal use only. Please do not download, redistribute, or use it for commercial purposes. Thank you. Can you guys define home organization? If somebody said to you, what is home organization? What would you say? And I'm going to actually pop back and see in the comments here. Who would like to define home organization? Just pop your answers into the comments. No, you don't have to buy a bin. In fact, I require that you don't buy a bin. Right. Tiffany says, I've made many systems, but I don't stick to them. The problem with systems is that we tend to only, okay, I'm going off topic here for a second or off of my slides. The problem with systems is that systems require habits to maintain them. And often we put a system in place, but then we don't put a habit in place to support the system. So, for example, if your system is to do laundry every single day, but you're not in the habit of starting a load of laundry every day, your system is never going to work, right? So systems need habits, and that's why they tend to fail. That's just a side note. Okay, so having everything in its place and having a place for everything and everything in its place, that is generally what it is, right? So that's generally what home organization is. It's storing all like items together in one single location. So that's part one. All like items together, all glasses, all napkins, all plates, all bowls, all like items together in one single location. And in such a way that you can see everything all at once. So the key to home organization is that you can see an entire collection of items in just one glance. For example, a junk drawer that is, generally, this is not freshly organized, right? This is good home organization stays pretty good on its own. And every so often you have to refresh it. Like this drawer, for example, for the most part, you can open this and see how many scissors you have right here. You can see your batteries. You can see your pens and pencils. You can see all of your like items together at a glance. And you can also see when things are not in the right spot, which is really important to maintaining home organization. If something is not put away in the right spot, it's glaringly obvious. It's so simple to fix. Small appliances in a kitchen, they're all like items stored all together in a single location in a way so that you can see them all at once. Let me know in the comments, do you have a hard time seeing all of the parts of your small kitchen appliances at once? Do you have parts in different spots in your kitchen? Do you have small appliances stored all over the place? Can you see all of your small appliances at a glance or not? Right? This would be seeing all of your small appliances stored all together in one location in a way so that you can see them all at once. More examples. Sorry, this picture was a little blurry, but I think you get the idea. All of your spices stored all together, but stored in a way so that you can see every single one that you have at a glance. And that is absolutely the key here, so that you can see everything you have at a single glance. There's no extra seconds picking up every single spice jar to see if it's the one that you're looking for. You can see what you have. It's only in one location. You can see it at a glance. This picture on the right, this was, I was working with a client, and this is her collection of home care, or she called them self-care items. So here's the thing about home organization. It has to work for you. It has to cognitively match how you think about your items. So if you have a random collection like this, ask yourself, where would I look for these items to be stored? Like, with what other stuff would they be stored with? For this client, she would light candles and do the sage and all of the essential oils and all of that. Like, that was one collection in her mind. If it were my house, this would not be one collection, because I don't cognitively think of these items as one thing. So it really has to make sense only to you. It doesn't matter if it makes sense to other people. Your collections are your collections, period. On the left here, we have a picture of electronics. So I'm a big advocate of storing all electronics together, including cords and everything. And what happened here was this client had everything in just one box. So when she opened up the box, the cords were all mixed up. They were all tangled. The camera, she couldn't see each individual item. So we did a quick fix with a cardboard box and some paper towel rolls. And this has stayed like this for several years now. It's actually such a functional storage unit made out of nothing that she had to buy, right? And in fact, I don't think she could possibly purchase something that's so customized like that. And it just works perfectly for her. On the right, we have so those are corner cabinets in your kitchen. And most people tend to put a lot of items into corner cabinets because they're big cavernous spaces. The best thing to do with big cavernous spaces is to put single large items into them, not many small items, because clutter attracts clutter. If you have a small item and you can't really see it, because remember, good home organization means you can see it all at once. If you can't see what is in the back of those cabinets, it's clutter, and clutter attracts clutter. So you'll notice when you have areas of your house that are disorganized, the clutter piles up because clutter attracts clutter. So that's a little Jessism that you can keep in mind. Clutter attracts clutter. What you really want to do in big cavernous spaces is put single large items. That's what those spaces are meant for. So how do we actually organize? The key here is to declutter first. So many times we jump to organization without dealing with decluttering. The truth is, and you're going to want to keep this one in mind, the truth is that if you declutter enough, organization becomes so much less critical. It almost doesn't matter. So in your efforts to become organized, I want you to remember the more you declutter, the less critical organization is. So even though we are just trying so hard and buying so much and reading so much and learning so much about home organization, we really need to focus on decluttering. If you have just a few items, it doesn't really matter how you store them or where you store them. You can always see them all at once. So declutter first, declutter first, declutter first. Just get that into your mind. The less that you have to deal with overall, the better. Declutter as much as you possibly can. Once you declutter, you can see how much of a collection you actually have, like what size is the actual collection. And then you can figure out appropriate storage in your house because you know the size of the collection. Once you figure out appropriate storage, you find a home for that collection, everything in its home. You know, that's like that little old adage, like a home for everything and everything in its home. All like items together in a single spot so that you can see them all at once. It's really, really simple. Great home organization is just like unloading a dishwasher. So think about this. If you go into somebody else's house, most likely you're going to be able to unload their dishwasher because our dishes are one of the few collections that are consistently well organized across most homes. You don't even have to think about where to put away dishes. It's very easy for you to walk into somebody else's house or for somebody to walk into your house and take the dishes and put them away. You open up the cabinet, you see the rest of the dishes, that's where they go. You want your house to mimic this idea. You want it to be so simple to know where everything goes that you just open up a cabinet and it's completely obvious. All the other items that are like that item are right there and you can see them all at once. So you'll know that your home is really well organized when picking up your stuff is as simple as unloading dishes from your dishwasher. As you're going through this process of decluttering and organizing, it can really help to use sticky notes because that will really show your family members and remind you where each collection lives. So as you're decluttering, as you're grouping your collections together, I mean, you're taking these commingled collections, sorting them out, grouping like items together, and then the sticky notes help you remember what items you've grouped together. So in this case, we have first aid supplies, we have shampoos. The other benefit is that you can see how many shampoos you have or how many tape rolls you have or how many Band-Aids you have, right? Everything's all together. And usually by the time the sticky notes become unsticky and fall off, you've memorized where everything goes. So that's the timeline for how long it takes to get everybody kind of on board. It's however long the sticky note lasts for. It always seems to work out like that. It's kind of funny. Home organization is so simple that a child should be able to do it. Like it's so obvious where something goes. It's so easy to put it away. There's space for it. It should be easy for a child. And it should be simple enough that even a dog could do it if they could put stuff away. So I just throw this slide in because I think it's kind of funny. So home organization, make it as simple as you possibly can. That's the whole lesson today. Your homework is the goal of the homework or the goal of the lesson was to understand home organization. And now your task is to declutter and organize one very small collection in your home. Share your before and after pictures. And then also declutter your 10 items for today. So we did 5 items yesterday, 10 items today, and find a very small collection to organize. It could be your socks. It could be your junk drawer. It could be your pens and pencils. Find one very small collection, grab all like items, pull them together, and store them in a way so that you can see them all at once. And then tell everyone in your family, this is where this goes, right? All of these things go in just one spot. I think that's, your action steps, same thing, basically. Also drop a hashtag stop the flow into your homework if you've continued to stop the flow in and let us know how much money you're saving. I know that can be a hard number to come up with, but how much money do you feel like you're saving? And tag your clutter buddy if you have one. All right, I'm gonna pull myself back up here. Keep it simple, silly. Yes. All right. So I have a lot of questions that have already come in from the group that I want to talk through. And then if we have more time, we can do more questions. Let me see. I'm just reading some comments here. Clover says, my dishes are a mess and my kids spread them to every room in the house. Paper and plastic is less stress, even if it's more money. Clover, you do you, whatever works best for you. We can also talk about, helping kids help you, basically. All right, let's see. It looks like there's some other questions going on, but there's so many comments, I can't really keep up with it. So if one of my coaches is on here, you can just message me and let me know if I'm missing something that people are asking, because I kind of feel like I might be, but it's hard to tell through the comments. So let me just get into these questions that are coming already. Hello. Yes, stop the flow in 100%. Let's see here. Nice. This boot camp has kept me off of Amazon Prime Day. Awesome. Yes, Mary Margaret, definitely do your pens. Pull all your pens together and organize them into one spot. Okay, some questions. The first one is from Sharon Lamb. Sharon, I'm not sure if you're on this call, but if not, make sure that you go ahead and rewatch this. How do I get my husband on board when he is so emotionally attached to everything? That's a great question. And it's one that comes up all the time, which is why I pulled it out to answer it here. This decluttering journey, first and foremost, is about you. It's about you and your stuff. The best way that you can get other people in your family on board is to lead by example. When you start to get your own stuff decluttered and organized, when you get your own personal areas looking good, feeling good, when you are actively showing other people that you are moving stuff out of the house in a way that is really helping you out, they are going to naturally get on board. Emotional attachment is a really big thing. But for right now, just focus on what you can control. I promise you that if you deal with your own stuff first, then you're going to feel so much better, because you're going to have control over so many areas and so much of your own things. So I would say focus inward before worrying about other people in your home. And just keep these conversations going with your husband. Be supportive. Try and understand where he's coming from, but just keep moving forward on your own path. Another thing that some people do is they play my podcasts and videos in the background when their family members are listening or could be listening. And that's a little way to kind of, start them hearing the same stuff. Because remember, you're actively seeking out information and your family members are not. They're not on this path right now. So as you move forward, you're going to progress more rapidly than other people, because this is what you're doing. And they're going to do the same thing, but it's going to be on their own timeline. Okay, let's see. Nancy Cronin, I have a question from you. My family talks about regret over things that they threw away, like baseball cards and marble collections. And this makes it hard for me to throw away something because I'm afraid I'm going to regret it. So I thought this was a really interesting question, because we tend to hang on to baseball card collections or marbles or something like that because we feel like they're going to be valuable in the future. They're collectibles. My children have had their fair share of collectible items. And, I've really had to kind of work this out for myself, like what makes the most sense. I get a lot of questions from people. Should I save boxes that things came in because it might be worth more in the future if it's in a box? So here are my general thoughts, especially when it comes to talking to our kids about this. While it's true that you might be able to make some money in the future from some collectibles, for the most part, keeping items for 30 or 40 or 50 years until they increase in value pays out very little relative to the amount of time that you have been storing the item for. I believe that our time is better spent, instead of storing items, it's better spent learning new skills that maybe can make you way more money than that item is going to make you in the future. So I really value skills over stockpiles. Go learn something, right? Instead of taking care of an item that could be valuable at some point in the future, take the time that you're saving, not dealing with the space that's taking up, not dealing with taking care of these collectible items so they're in perfect condition. Take that time and learn a new skill so that you can, and it doesn't even have to be a skill that makes you money. Go do something that you love because you never get your time back. This goes back to the lesson that I share almost every single day. Time is a non-renewable resource. Money is a renewable resource. We can always make more money. We can never make more time. So invest in yourself with the time that you have right now. What's the worst thing that happens if you let go of a collection? I mean, this is another good question to ask yourself. What's your worst case scenario if you don't have that? And really think through if it's something super rare, super valuable. Okay, your worst case scenario is that you really want that. But okay, thanks, Colleen. I just got a message from Colleen. I will get to that. And I totally lost my train of thought there. This is what happens when I ask people to text me while I'm in the middle of a live stream here. Invest in yourself. Oh, so what's your worst case scenario, right? So if you have something super rare and super valuable, like, yeah, maybe you don't want to give that up. However, if you have something that's not really that rare and not really that valuable, the worst case scenario is that maybe in the future, like 50 years from now, your child's going to miss out on a couple of $100s. Is that worth the time of saving and storing all of that stuff? That's my thoughts on that. All right. The next question comes from Chris Holly. People, and this question had like almost 100 comments in our group, so I really thought I should pull it out and talk about it live also. In regards to collections people hang on to for 30 to 40 years, I asked myself, is it earning its rent in my house? That is a great, great question. Is it worth that much that it is worth taking up the space in your house for a half a century? Exactly. I'm sorry I don't know your name. It just shows up as Facebook user, but I 100% agree. Is it paying for itself? Is it paying you rent for your space? Most likely it's not. And when it comes to your kids, teach them skills, teach them how to make money. Instead of saving some toy for them that they could possibly sell in the future, right? Teach them how to earn money. My 8th grader right now, she's been home every other day because of the pandemic. And we told her, like, why don't you start researching stocks? We'll give you a couple of $100. You can start investing in stocks and just see what happens. Just have that, like, that little learning curve with stocks. I mean, and now I don't know anything about stocks, but I really wish that my kids will learn about stocks and have more knowledge there than I do, because that would be a great way for them to earn money in the future. Instead of me saving, some toy that they had that might be worth a couple of $100s in the future. Here's some money, learn how to invest, right? Or go get a job. Both my kids work. They're 11 and 14. We really value hard work and learning how to talk to adults and learning how to make money. It's a really, really important skill. It's so much more important than saving something for them to sell in the future. Okay. Let's see here. Chris, people who have lost parents, how do we get rid of their stuff? This is a really, really good question. And it's something that we all have to deal with. Every single one of us is likely going to have to deal with getting rid of stuff from our parents. Number one, know that whenever we're dealing with a grieving situation, whenever we're grieving the loss of a loved one, decluttering is one part of the equation, but the other part is time. So we have to declutter, but we also have to know that there is going to be the element of time passing. That's going to be also an important part of the equation. You want to really think about the stuff that you end up saving from a parent's estate. Your goal is to honor the person that you lost and that you loved so dearly, right? So what is the best thing that you can do with the stuff that you have that honors the relationship, that honors the person? I'm going to go down this road and just share this story because I think it's really important to hear. It's not even, it's a story that I hear over and over again. and that I've witnessed so many times. What we tend to do when we deal with estates is we tend to pack up a lot of stuff into boxes and put it into either basements, garages, or attics. Basements, garages, and attics are like the worst, or storage units. Basements, garages, attics, and storage units are the worst possible spots that you can be storing anything. There's a lot of changes in humidity and temperature in those areas. There are lots of rodents and little bugs. There are lots of potentials for environmental damage, like from flooding or smoke damage or something like that. Attics, basements, and garages were never meant to be storage areas. That's not to say that there aren't some things that it's okay to store in those areas, but attics exist in your house for airflow. Garages exist in your house to store your very expensive cars, and basements exist in your house to maintain the foundation of your house and also to maintain the temperature of your house. Attics and basements both exist for temperature control also in your house. They are not built-in storage areas, and due to the nature of attics, basements, and garages, a lot of times when we get to the point where we feel like we're able to deal with our parents' stuff, we open up a box to find that it has been damaged. And that is so devastating. It's the most devastating thing. If you have pictures that are irreplaceable, memorabilia that belong to your parents, and it's just kind of being stored haphazardly, you want to make sure that you address that sooner rather than later, because we don't want those items to get damaged. Storage units are really no better. Now, their purpose is to store stuff. However, there's lots and lots of problems with storage units because they're metal. There's a lot of moisture issues. There's a lot of mold. And most of the time, your insurance and your homeowner's insurance does not cover damages in storage units a lot of the time. And if you buy insurance from the storage unit place, also, if you assume that their insurance is going to cover damages to your stuff, you're also wrong. It does not. So storage units, just in general, unless you have a climate controlled one, which tend to be way more expensive, I have like serious concerns about storing anything of value in storage units. Your goal is to honor the memory of your loved ones that you lost. So one thing that you might consider is to really, without looking through all of the stuff, sit down with your journal and think about like the top 5 or the top 10 items that are most meaningful to you, that are connected to memories of that person. And then I would find those 5 or 10 items and make sure that they're being stored in a way that honors the memory, or displayed in a way so that you can see it every single day and it can bring you joy. Make sure that you're just honoring the memory of the person with really good storage and in a way that feels like good for you, not like it's an overwhelming, burdensome task, because that's not the feeling that you want to get when you think of this person, this loved one who passed away. So I have a master's degree in archival science, which is basically the storage, the collecting and storing of huge historical collections. Through that whole process of getting this master's degree, I really had spent a lot of time reading through personal items that people left behind in archival repositories. And what I have learned is if you have a memory, that is simply a story. A memory is a story. And the best way to honor the memory and begin to break the attachment with the actual item is to share the story. So gather your family together, gather some strangers in this group together, share the stories that are being represented by the items. A memory is just a story. A story deserves to be shared. You can never throw out a memory. You can throw out an item, but you can actually not throw out a memory. Memories exist in our hearts, and nothing that you do is ever going to let go of that memory. It's not possible. So if you have a memory, it's a story. Write it down, share it, record yourself sharing it, tell it to somebody. And know that if you threw out every single thing that you had, you would not be throwing out your memories ever. It's impossible. So, dealing with parent stuff can be really complicated, but I would encourage you to start to go through it. And just like anything else, you're going to deal with whatever is there that is not emotional first. And then you're going to take all the stuff that is too emotional, put it into one spot, wait 6 months, wait 9 months, whatever it is, go through it again. And every year or so, you want to make a point to go through this collection. I like to go through collections of memorabilia with family members over the holidays. I feel like it's a really make memories with memories. I feel like it's a really good experience for us all to sit down together and to look at family photos, look at family documents, honor that person's memory. And over time, we have digitized the most important stuff. And we've let go of the things that they just don't rise to the top in terms of like important memories, right? So time really does help, but make sure your stuff is being stored in a way where it's not going to get damaged. Please, 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 please. Okay. Let's see. Somebody here is saying all of my Coach purses got ruined by mold in a damp storage unit. Yeah, this is like, I can't tell you how common this is. Everything in this $300 plus a month was destroyed by moisture and mice and cost me a fortune to take loads to the dump. 100%. I am not a big fan of the self-storage unit industry. There's actually, here's a little statistic. There are more self-storage unit businesses, not units, businesses in the country than the top 5 fast food restaurants combined. So there's more storage unit businesses than McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Subway, and I forget what the 5th one is, all combined. Yeah, even climate controlled storage has a lot that break. Absolutely. So Vicki, how and where do you store Christmas stuff? That's a good question. I do store most of my Christmas stuff in the attic. So it's not that you can't ever use attics, basements, or garages for storage. You just want to be really specific with what you store there. Highly seasonal collections that you're only going to access once a year make a lot of sense because you only take it out one time a year. It's all together in one location. You just have to be careful. If you're putting something into an attic and it gets really hot, things could melt, they could break. So just kind of know what you're storing there. Make sure that you're putting it into appropriate storage and make sure that it's easy and safe to access because there's a lot of safety considerations, especially with storing stuff in attics. So just, the other thing that we store up in the attic is like winter gear, stuff that we would not look for. Any like skis, for example, we would never look for our skis in the middle of summer, like somewhere else, right? It's a really specific collection that's not going to get destroyed by heat and humidity, or at least ours aren't. They're not very expensive skis. So it's okay to store some stuff in attics, basements, and garages, but you want to do it mindful of the environment that you're putting it into. It's really sad that we have all fallen for the storage unit craze. Yes, all of the money we have thrown away. I know. So storage units cost like thousands and thousands of dollars to the average person who is storing stuff in them. I mean, you spent money on stuff. Now you're paying somebody else to store your stuff that you're not using. And it's a huge burden on your mind because it's always that thing that you need to deal with, but don't actually get around to dealing with it because nobody wants to deal with storage units. So it's a burden. It's an emotional burden. It's a financial burden. And if you have a choice, I would say don't opt for a storage unit. Just declutter your stuff as much as you can. Or use storage units for a very short period of time. So like there is an appropriate use for a storage unit and it's for short transitional periods. So put a timeline on it, put a budget on it, and do not exceed that time or that budget. That would be an appropriate use of a storage unit. How do I handle my grandmother's paintings? Some are still okay, but most are retro, but I don't want to dishonor her. So that's a really good question. And I'm sorry, it just says Facebook user, so I'm not sure what your name is, but your grandmother's, do you like your grandmother's paintings? Do you enjoy looking at them? I would say that your grandmother probably painted for herself, right? Like that was most likely something that she did as a form of self-care, a hobby that she loved. I would say keep the one painting that you love the most and feel free to let the rest go. You're not dishonoring your grandmother. Her intention was never to burden you with her stuff, right? So you have to think about also like when people leave things to you, or you're left to deal with stuff, would they want to be creating a burden in your life? Now, if they lived through the Depression and never got to see this day and age where we have a million things, like they might have thought it was important that you hang on to this stuff. But if your grandmother lived in today's day and age with all of the stuff that we have access to and understood the burden of too many things, would they ever want to burden you with more? Truly, probably not. I mean, things are not left to family members to be a burden. They're left to be a joy. And if that's not what's happening from the items that were left, that is nobody's fault. It's circumstantial. Circumstances are neither positive nor negative. They just are. We actually, we have Allison McIntosh, who is a mindset coach who works inside of Clutter Boss Academy. And she is just, the way that she just explains circumstances and thoughts and feelings is so incredible. I can't really do it justice, but I'll try for a second. So a circumstance, it is an event that happens, right? Somebody leaves you something. It's neither negative nor positive. We tend to think that circumstances cause our feelings. But the way that it really works is that we have a thought about a circumstance and we have a feeling attached to that thought. So the circumstances that somebody left you something and the thought that you might have, now that's like neither, here nor there. That just is what it is. The thought that you have about the circumstance is where the feeling is coming from. So the thought is that if I let go of this, I'm dishonoring my grandmother. But that's your own thought. That's not your grandmother's thought, right? Like we are only responsible for our own thoughts. So we can totally change the thought and then change the feeling and change the action. Allison, if you're watching this and I totally just messed that up, I'm sorry. Let's see. Yeah, take photos of all your grandmother's stuff. That's the other thing, is that we can easily create digital records today. We all have phones in our hands and we can easily create all of the digital records that we need. Speaking of the phone in my hand, Coach Colleen messaged me and said, finding workbook pages. So I posted day 1 and day 2 already. If you're interacting with our Messenger virtual clutter coach, then you had yours delivered to you today. If not, I'll post a link to it right after this in our homework thread. So we're working to get that whole workbook thing sorted out. It's not critical to your success here, though. I promise you. If you don't have the workbook, you are still doing an amazing job in boot camp without the workbook. But I will make sure to post the new link to the editable PDF into the thread right after this. I really prefer that you guys don't have the workbooks too far in advance, because it's important to hear the lesson before looking at the workbook. But I know it's hard to not look at the workbook. So let's see. Juliana says, burn the good candles. Yes, burn the good candles, 100%. What if the relatives are hoarders too? How can I offer family heirlooms to them and they then take on more clutter? Okay, that's a good question. First of all, I don't really love the word hoarders, but I understand we use it, right? Yeah, that's a great question. If you don't want to burden somebody else who has a tendency to hang on to stuff. However, with family heirlooms, I do believe that you have to identify the stakeholders of the collection. The stakeholders tend to be anybody who might have a connection to the memory that the item represents, or to the person that the item represents. So typically stakeholders are siblings, aunts and uncles, cousins, moms, dads. Your close family, they're stakeholders in a collection of items, family heirloom items. I would say it is important to talk to the stakeholders, say that you have these items, and offer them to somebody else. You really can't control what other people keep or let go of. And I wouldn't offer, so If you know that you have family members who have a really hard time letting go of things and take everything into their house, then only put out the offer for things that are truly, family heirlooms. Like, don't offer them like your mismatched socks, right? Like, be mindful. I say don't make your clutter other people's clutter. In this case, though, you do want to talk to your family about the heirlooms and have a plan. So if nobody wants them, that's fine. And if somebody wants to take on the heirlooms, that's fine too. It's definitely part of a bigger discussion. I would put it all in writing, email this type of stuff, because you want to have a record of your conversation. It can be helpful later on when you don't remember like where something went, or if somebody said they're going to take something from you, put a timeline on it so it doesn't go on and on and on forever. I have been increasing the men's game by 10 plus every day. Should it just be 5 things? I forget what I said it was. was it 5 yesterday and then 10 today and then 15 tomorrow? You play the men's game in the way that makes the most sense for you. If you can increase by 10 every single day, then 100% increase by 10 every day. If you can increase by 100 every day, increase by 100 every day. The men's game is just the structure to start removing stuff from your home. But there's a lot of different ways that we can do the men's game, and I want you to do the one that is best for you. 10, 5. Okay, it's so hard when I have a craft room and my husband has an old car and tools and electronics. We have been disagreeing over clutter for 40 years. We are both getting to the point where we are tired of all this stuff. Well, that's great news. You're getting to the point where you're tired of it, which means it's going to be easier to let it go. I would say you focus on you. You focus on your craft stuff, and then ask your husband to focus on his stuff. I would definitely define your own space and his own space in your home. So defining who has executive control over different spaces can make a really big difference when it comes to clutter. Most of the spots where we accumulate clutter are areas where nobody has executive control over the space, like a little area on the counter or the garage, right? Nobody has executive control over the space. So say to your husband, I give you the garage to deal with. Like if it's all your stuff, that's your space. I'm going to let you do what you want with it and not be judgmental. But the craft room is all mine, and I'm going to take ownership over this space, and I am going to deal with it. So like literally, my husband and I have our dressers next to each other in our closet. The top of his dresser is his space. The top of my dresser is my space. He has executive control over his space. Our deal is we don't let our stuff spill out into somebody else's space. Now, my dresser top is mostly clear. He's got a lot more stuff on his, but it's his space. And at the end of the day, as long as it's not infringing on my space, it's totally fine. This is a judgment-free zone, right? So try and do that with your family also. Let's see. I can't believe we all bought into the storage containers. Yep. Oh, so Amber's, this is a really good point. So one of our coaches, Marie, she joined Clutter Boss Academy a year ago, a little more than a year ago. And she was trying to figure out a way to remain consistent with the outflow in her house. So, and we have her video, we can post it into the group. She actually started to declutter one banker's box of stuff every single day. And she just passed. So she's our consistency coach now. She just achieved 365 days of decluttering a box of stuff from her house every single day. She's a huge inspiration to all of us. She has made so much progress, and she posts her picture of her box every day in our groups, which is really fun. She's inspired so many other people to take on this strategy as well. A box a day, a bag a day, any consistent action that you can take is going to be really important. I've never played the men's game. I prefer not to count and just get rid of as much as possible. Whatever works for you is okay. 100%. The men's game is a strategy, but if it doesn't work for you, then don't use that strategy. It works for most people, but not everyone, and that's totally okay. We can talk about a strategy that will work for you. Bathroom and kitchen and pantry are great places to start. 100%. There's a lot to let's go. Marie is the boss. She really is. Okay, I've got 14. I have over 14,000 from 6 email accounts unopened. I need to learn to unsubscribe. Yep. There's lots of different tools that you can use to unsubscribe for your digital clutter. If you use Gmail, a lot of times there's an unsubscribe right on the top. Or you can use this tool called unroll.me, and it like scans through all of your email, pulls out all of the things that you're subscribed to, and you can bulk unsubscribe from them, which is very handy. Okay, my husband and I have said we would do a box a day, but something happens all the time. We have tried so many times and failed, but we are thinking of trying again. We have a garage and a back porch full of boxes from when we moved. We call this re-railing. I love re-railing. Why not try again? Why not keep trying? What's the worst that can happen? Anything that you can do to restart, re-rail, retry, right? Start again. Do it, because one day it is going to work. It's going to work. It's going to stick. So just keep trying. Unroll.me. So Sam just posted it in the comments, unroll.me. It's a digital tool that goes through your email, pulls out all your subscriptions. It's really good. Unroll.com is defunct. I don't think it's unroll.com. It's unroll.me. I'm glad that tip is going to save you so much money. Oh, thank you, Lisa. Yeah, every day that you wake up, you have the opportunity to try again. And we honor all the different times that you wake up and try again. And no matter how it goes, you're learning a little tiny bit every single day. And one day is going to be the day that you wake up and it all just kind of falls into place. We see it over and over and over again. Let's see. Yep. Restart, re-rail, try again. All right. Are there any last minute questions? We have like 3 minutes left. So if you have a question, go ahead and pop it into the comments. Are you guys excited to do your area today, to organize one small area? It's really time yourself, and we'll get into this lesson, I think tomorrow, but time yourself and see how long it takes you to organize, to declutter and organize one tiny area. I guarantee it'll take less time than you think. A lot of our clutter bosses do time-lapse videos of decluttering an area, which is a great strategy because number one, it blocks you from using your phone, and phones are today's number one distraction. And number two, it's really fun to watch your time-lapse video of an area when you're done. So a time-lapse video can be a great strategy. Let's see. Getting so motivated. Awesome, awesome, awesome. How do you store Tupperware containers? Faye, that's a good question. And it really kind of depends on how you use Tupperware containers. You want to start with a defined amount of space for your Tupperware containers. Do you have one drawer, one cabinet, one shelf? So first define your amount of space, and then you want to figure out a way to store your containers in there so it's easy to access both the bottom and the top. That's the key. You want to easily access both the bottom and the top. Post some pictures. We can give you some ideas. There's no right or wrong way to do any of this. It's really what makes the most sense for you. How long can I listen to your lives? I want to keep re-listening to them until I am done decluttering. So everything, because this is a free boot camp, everything in here disappears next Wednesday. I do have podcasts. You have opportunities to join other coaching programs with me. So if you want continued ongoing support, you will definitely have the opportunity for that. A lot of people listen to my podcast while they're decluttering. There's like 52 episodes right now. I do a Friday morning podcast. I do 2 podcasts a week. There's a Friday morning podcast with Allison, who's my mindset coach. It's really just a fun, lighthearted kind of a look at life. So those are really fun to listen to also. Let's see. Okay. Describe a banker's box. It's just a small, it's like maybe 1 cubic foot. So it's like a 12 by 12 by 12 inch box. It's like a standard box size, a banker's box. My podcasts are everywhere. They're on YouTube, they're on Apple, they're on Spotify, they're on Stitcher. They're like literally everywhere. The podcast is called It's All Clutter. because I believe that all clutter in our life is connected. All right. You guys are incredible. Don't forget to grab those Coach on Call sessions. Go ahead and sign up for them. The signups are open. We have limited spots. If we end up filling up really quickly, we can add more, but we won't know until people start signing up. So go ahead and sign up. It's clutterboss.com/coach on call. And if you want information about Clutter Boss Academy, let me know. I'm happy to give you information. If you want to join before I raise the price on next Monday, reach out to me, talk to me about it. And you guys continue the amazing, incredible work. We have like 300 before and after pictures already. I am blown away by how much you guys have gotten done just a few days into boot camp. Thank you so much for showing up for yourself. You are awesome, and you deserve to have a home that you love. I will see you tomorrow, same place, same time, new lesson. I'm super excited to share it with you. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much.